here in Jupiter, very shortly, the VIPs and the invited guests are going to start to make their ways outside to watch the liftoff. There are two terraces here on either side of the building that give a fine view onto the pad, and if the skies are clear, which they look clearer than this morning anyway, the visitors will have quite a sight. Here in Jupiter are the operational teams, but in fact, to launch Ariane or Soyuz or Vega, we also need security, Army, firefighters, journalists, and other professions. Split screen image here showing the propellant feeder arms in the middle of the launcher, liquid hydrogen on the left, liquid oxygen on the right. What are they doing? Well, they're putting propellant into the upper stage tanks. And you'll see these arms pull back at about 5 seconds before ignition, and the arms you can see in the middle of the gantry, the yellow bars going into the upper stage. This is one of the last things you see before liftoff, that is, so we like to take a minute and mention it. Minute and a half to go. Gsat 17 arrived here on May 15th and went right to the satellite preparation buildings. Inmarsat Helisat arrived the week after on May 23rd and began its tests. You're going to hear the DDO call out the one.
À tous de DDO, attention pour moins 1 minute.
All those tests now to ready the launcher are over. Everything that has had to be done has been done.
Top à 0 moins 1 minute.
We're into the final 60 seconds. Give us a chance to say hello to our friends at ISRO in Bengaluru, to our friends at Arabsat, to Inmarsat tonight in London, Helisat people in Athens and in Larnaca in Cyprus, to the Thales Alenia space teams in Cannes and Toulouse. Hello locally to the Kourou, Sinnamary, and Cayenne sites, to our industrial partners, ISA and CNES, and to all of you following the broadcast on the internet. We hope you are enjoying it. If you're not settled in, pull up a chair and enjoy the launch, because we're going to cut away and let you listen to the DDO, and he will call out the final seconds. Remember, the cryo arms will open at about -7 seconds.
À tous de DDO, attention pour le décompte final. 10, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, top. Allumage Vulcain. Allumage UAP, décollage.
And we have left off.
Les paramètres bord sont nominaux.
So at 18:15, and right on time, well, with a 5-minute delay, Ariane 5 began her mission, lifting off
La propulsion est nominale.
in French Guiana with a lot of fire. Nice shot of the birds on the port side as she took off. I don't know if you could see that. The DDO is saying that everything is going smoothly on board as Ariane begins her mission, the 7th for Ariane Space.
Tous les paramètres à bord sont normaux.
2 new satellites for
Supersonic approaching max
new
speed.
services for new customers around the globe. The 2 boosters are providing 90% of our thrust right now, propelling the launcher along her trajectory at an ever higher velocity. 774 tons is her mass at liftoff. She's burning 5 tons of fuel per second, 2.5 tons in each booster, plus the core stage in the middle is burning another 300 kilos of fuel every second. And Ariane 5 now following the program in her onboard computer, which is located on the upper stage. This gives all the orders, including stage separations, which we will
La propulsion est nominale, la trajectoire est nominale, tous les paramètres à bord sont normaux.
propulsion and trajectory normal, says the DDO. We're in the first of 4 flight phases. We'll describe each in turn and in detail so you can follow Ariane as she heads east across the Atlantic. Right now, the first flight phase. The single first stage engine and the 2 boosters are burning. The boosters will each consume 240 tons in just over 2 minutes, another 20 seconds roughly for them to burn. They'll be the first to be extinguished. You'll hear that also,
Tous les
of course, from
paramètres
the
à bord sont
DDO.
normaux.
We're 15 kilometers from the pad here in Jupiter, and the sound is just
Séparation
coming
des
over.
2 EAP.
And we have boosted
All right, those are
separation.
the separation of the 2 boosters. You saw that. The DDO confirmed it.
By now,
This is what it looks like up
first
there.
stage
There's
has gone
one
so much fuel that
on
it
the
cannot
left-hand
clearly
side of
lift
the
its weight
vehicle
on its own.
outside of out of the camera
This
range.
is
Before the
essentially
boosters
the
are
point
empty,
of
their
lowest
push diminishes
thrust
and the
weight ratio.
onboard computer, the same one, senses this drop in acceleration and separates them. And they fall 500 kilometers from shore into a protected area. French Guiana was in part, remember, chosen as
Tous
a
les
base
paramètres à
for
bord
its
sont
opening
normaux, la
on
propulsion est
the ocean,
nominale.
launches posing no threat to local population. Take a look at the bottom of your screen. On the left, altitude. On the right, our speed. We're over 100 kilometers, and we're past 2 kilometers per second. We're getting close to the separation of the fairing, which will be next up. And there we are, right on time.
Séparation de la coiffe.
Kilometers. Revealing the silver box on the top is Gsat Inmarsat. Separation is given by 2 pyrotechnic cords, and there's one half, you can see the other half on the right side out of camera range. These cords actually remove the fairing by a contained explosion, very small explosion, that pushes the 2 parts of the fairing apart. We can separate the fairing now. Why? Because we're out of the dense layers of the atmosphere, and neither friction nor heating, which could disturb the passengers. Also, we can get rid of any dead weight.
La propulsion est nominale.
The fairing weighs almost 2.5 tons, so we don't need it anymore. We let it go. Ariane 5, of course, the heavy lift launch vehicle. The other 2 members of the family Soyuz lifting middle-sized payloads, 2 and 3 tons. And Vega, the light lift vehicle for
La
missions of
trajectoire
1
est
ton.
nominale.
Our next film gives you a closer look at one of our upper passenger operators, Gsat 3. Next year, that new satellite will be launched also by Arianespace. We should have a launch replay coming up for you.
By
Here
now,
we are. That's the first one. We
first stage has burned so much
may
fuel
have several
that the
shots
satellite
of
using the
the
tiny
launch
first
vehicle
stage
replay. You
engine
can relive
has
those
a
moments
thrust weight ratio of 2.
as Ariane 5
The
took
rocket
off
acceleration
from the
at 20
pad close to 8
meters per
minutes
second
ago.
squared.
We have cameras in the film. We were also picked up by our first downrange tracking station in Natal over the border in our neighbor, Brazil. A fast mission tonight. Gsat Inmarsat will be on station in just 10 days. Michele Franchi of Inmarsat this morning told us that last month they launched from Florida, and the satellite won't be on station until early August because of the mission's different, involving electrical orbit raising and such things, but not today. They're going to be right there in a week and just a few days.
Extinction de l'EPC sur commande de guidage.
There you saw the extinction of the
Et
lower
séparation
stage
de l'EPC.
and the separation, and watch the nozzle on the upper stage. There it is, turning right on. These 3 commands, extinction and separation of the lower
Allumage de
stage
l'OSC.
and ignition of the upper stage, given by the onboard computer in about 13 seconds. And our onboard camera giving a shot of the lower stage falling back into the Atlantic off the Gulf of Guinea. We are now in the 3rd powered flight phase, the single upper stage engine that'll burn until plus 25 minutes, or 16 minutes roughly. Job of the upper stage is to take the satellites to their injection point, position them for separation, and then release them. That's its propulsion role, but it has a second role that comes during its ballistics phase, and we'll get back to that in a while. Our next film, another look at our first passenger, this time on the Inmarsat side.